"You hear that?" Commander Elise Vale whispered, her voice trembling beneath the weight of static. "That's not interference." The sound, a slow, rhythmic pulse echoing through the comms deck, wasn't noise. It was language. Captain Rian Holt leaned over the console, eyes narrow, the reflection of starfields glinting across his irises. "Pattern repetition every 7 seconds, he muttered. "Tritone signal. Someone's knocking." The crew of the Odyssey froze. Out there, beyond the orbit of the shattered moon of Arcan 9, an unknown presence spoke through the void. The sound was metallic, almost deliberate, like the heartbeat of something alive and colossal. The moment stretched. Elise's hand hovered over the comms relay. "Should I answer?" Ryan's lips tightened. "No, let's listen first. The universe doesn't whisper unless it means to." Outside, the stars burned cold. The Odyssey, humanity's farthest-reaching exploration vessel, drifted among fragments of ancient metal, remnants of something older than human memory. The wreckage was silent, but the pulse continued, reverberating through the ship's hull as if seeking entry. For weeks, the crew had searched for signs of the rumored architects, a civilization said to have vanished millennia ago. Humanity, in its restless hunger for knowledge and expansion, had followed fragments of myth across the Orion expanse. What they found, however, wasn't ruins. It was awakening. Elise adjusted her headset, her pulse matching the alien rhythm. "Captain, I'm getting secondary echoes. Same signal, different phase shift." "It's like it's learning our frequency." Ryan turned toward the observation glass. Beyond, the debris field began to shimmer faintly, metal shards aligning in geometric patterns. The void moved, organized. A shape was forming, a vast hexagonal lattice glowing in pale blue light. Lieutenant Navarro cursed softly. "That's not random drift." "No," Ryan said. His voice lowered, steady, but every word carried tension like drawn steel. "That's intention." Hours passed in uneasy silence. The ship's AI, Nora, processed terabytes of data, mapping the structure emerging outside. It was immense, thousands of kilometers wide, and it pulsed with the same tritone sequence. "This isn't a beacon," Nora finally said, her voice calm, synthetic yet almost maternal. "It's a door." A door, Rian's mind raced. Humanity had waited centuries for first contact, dreamt of diplomacy, coexistence, of cosmic unity. But this felt wrong. It wasn't a call for peace. It was a summoning. "Captain," Elise said quietly, "the Council's not responding to our transmissions. Our relays are jammed across the fleet network. Then we're alone." Ryan exhaled slowly, until proven otherwise. Outside, the hexagonal gate flared. A ripple of energy spread outward, bending light and space. Then came the second signal, lower, heavier, resonant enough to shake the decks. Elise clutched the console. "What is that frequency?" "It's not a frequency," Nora whispered. "It's a name." Then the voice came. Not spoken, but felt, vibrating through bone and blood. "We see you." The words echoed through every comm, every device, every heartbeat aboard the Odyssey. Elise gasped. Navarro screamed. The lights dimmed as energy readings spiked beyond measurable range. The starfield outside fractured like glass under strain, and for an instant the crew saw through it. Beyond lay something vast, a network of structures spanning light years, ships the size of continents, eyes of energy turning toward them, and then silence. The pulse stopped. The void returned to stillness. In the aftermath, Ryan stood alone at the viewport. The stars seemed closer now, watching. "Captain," Nora murmured, "signal transmission complete. The network that received it extends across 67 known systems." He turned sharply. "It broadcasted us?" "Yes," she said. "Our location, our biosigns, our voice frequencies. They know we are here." Ryan's jaw clenched. His thoughts burned. The Council, safe in their marble chambers orbiting Earth, wouldn't understand. They would send envoys. They would talk. But in his gut, he knew this was no invitation. It was a warning. He looked at Elise, whose trembling hands still hovered over the console. "Tell them what we found," he ordered. Every word, every pulse. "And tell them this," he paused, voice lowering to a tone carved from conviction. "Diplomacy won't save us. Whatever's coming, it's already awake." Outside, in the black between stars, the hexagonal structure pulsed once more, this time in perfect sync with the Odyssey's engines. A mirrored heartbeat, Then, deep in the comms array, a faint new signal began to whisper. A voice made of machine static, repeating words in broken human speech. "We are coming." The crew stared at one another, terror and awe twined as one. And for the first time in history, humanity understood what it meant to be heard by something greater. Rian whispered to himself, "Voice a promise to the void. Then we'll be ready." "Command doesn't believe us." Elise's voice cracked through the bridge air, brittle with exhaustion. Captain Rian Holt didn't look up from the screen. The response from the Terran Council shimmered faintly in the dim light, a recorded message wrapped in denial. "Maintain observation. Do not engage. Await diplomatic clearance." Rian read the words twice, his expression flat, controlled. "They always wait for clearance," he muttered. "Even when the universe stops asking politely." Outside, the hexagonal gate still hung in the void, silent, patient, alive. It hadn't moved since the first signal, but its glow had changed. The color was no longer cold blue. It burned amber like molten metal waiting to be forged. Elise set her jaw. "Captain, they're treating this like a first contact scenario." "It's not first contact," Rian said. "It's the second. We just didn't notice the first." The ship's hull groaned softly as cosmic radiation danced across its shielding. In the distance, pieces of ancient debris drifted like ghosts, some so massive they cast shadows across the Odyssey's path. The crew worked quietly, fear and curiosity balanced on a knife's edge. Lieutenant Navarro, scanning the outer perimeter, frowned. "Captain, those fragments, they're aligning again." Rian moved beside him. The tactical display flickered, revealing something new. The debris wasn't random anymore. The fragments had rearranged into perfect orbits, concentric circles around the gate. A formation. Elise whispered, "They're building something." "No," Rian said, his eyes narrowing. "They're waking something." Hours later, the ship trembled. Deep frequencies rolled through the hull, resonating like thunder trapped underwater. Every system flickered and the lights dimmed to crimson emergency glow. "Power surge across all decks," Navarro shouted. "The gate's projecting a gravitational field." "Hold us steady," Rian ordered. Nora's voice echoed through the speakers, calm but urgent. "Field magnitude increasing. I advise immediate withdrawal." "Negative," Rian snapped. "We're not running blind." Outside, the gate convulsed. The center rippled like liquid metal, and for a moment it opened, a fissure revealing endless darkness beyond. Then light erupted, spilling across the void in cascading waves. Every sensor flared red. Every warning screamed. From the gate's heart emerged a shape, a colossal construct of bronze and black alloys, shaped like a spearhead. Its surface crawled with symbols older than language. Elise gasped. "It's a ship." Rian stared, silent. "No, that's not a ship. That's a relic." The construct drifted free, silent and graceful despite its size. Smaller objects began to detach from it, hundreds of them swarming like mechanical insects. Nora's tone sharpened. Multiple signatures inbound. "Unknown propulsion." "They're scanning us," Rian's fists clenched. "Weapons ready." "I don't care if they call it diplomacy, we're not dying polite." The first beam hit the Odyssey like a hammer made of sunlight. Shields flared white-hot, then dropped to 70%. Sirens howled through the bridge. Elise braced against the console. "They're not answering hails." "Captain, we're under attack." Rian gritted his teeth, calm cutting through chaos. "Target lead formation. Return fire." The Odyssey's cannons ignited, streaking the void with fire. Explosions flared like newborn stars. One of the smaller constructs shattered into drifting shards, but 3 more replaced it instantly. Nora calculated. Their movement patterns suggest a hive structure. Central command likely within the primary relic. "Then we cut off the head," Rian said. "Charge the rail coil." Elise hesitated. "That'll drain the reactor." He turned, eyes fierce. "We either burn the sky or die watching it." The rail coil thrummed, gathering power until the deck shook. The bridge filled with static energy, every hair standing on end. Firing in 3, 2. Outside, the Odyssey unleashed a lance of energy. A beam brighter than dawn itself. It tore through space, striking the heart of the relic. For a moment, everything went silent. Then came the explosion. The shockwave ripped through the debris field, scattering metal and light. The gate dimmed, collapsing inward. The swarm froze mid-motion as if stunned. On the bridge, cheers erupted. Elise laughed breathlessly.
We did it.
We actually... Her words died as Nora interrupted, voice low and grim. Energy readings. Rising again. The relic is reconstituting. Captain, it's not destroyed. Rian turned toward the viewport. Through the thinning smoke of space, the massive shape was reforming, metal knitting itself back together, stronger, sharper. From deep within the gate, a second structure began to emerge. Twice as large, twice as alive. The crew went silent. Rian exhaled slowly, voice a growl of awe and dread. They wanted us to shoot. They're learning. He tapped the comms, recording for the council. This is Captain Holt of the Odyssey. We are no longer observing. We are surviving. Whatever these things are, they're not here to talk. His eyes burned like iron. You can debate politics later. But right now humanity needs to build. He looked out into the fire-lit void where the relics grew and the stars, trembled, because the machines have already started. The Odyssey drifted through the fractured silence of space, engines humming like a heartbeat against the void. Beyond the shattered remnants of Archon 9, the relics continued their methodical reconstruction, moving with precision and intent. Every shard, every sliver of metal, aligned into forms that defied imagination. Ships larger than cities, weapons shaped like monoliths, and machinery that seemed alive. Captain Rian Holt stood at the observation deck, jaw clenched, eyes reflecting the amber glow of the colossal constructs. Elise leaned beside him, voice quiet, threaded with awe and unease. They're building an armada, she said, almost to herself. Something that could... They will dominate any system in seconds, Rian finished, tone flat but sharp. And we're on their map. Below decks, Lieutenant Navarro moved through the ship like a coiled spring. We can't fight what we can't understand. Our weapons, our strategies, they're learning faster than we can anticipate. Rian turned sharply. Then we adapt. We don't wait for diplomacy, we don't beg for permission. We build too. Humanity builds, the Council's envoy finally responded, hours later when the Odyssey's messages had traversed the void. A pale holographic projection shimmered in the bridge, showing Administrator Corrin, seated in a gravity-stabilized chamber aboard the Terran command station. His expression was one of practiced calm, but the sweat on his temple betrayed him. Captain Holt, Corrin began, voice diplomatic yet brittle. We've received your report. We urge caution. The Council insists we pursue negotiations. There must be a way to... Rian cut him off, tone cutting like steel. Negotiations? With beings constructing war machines that dwarf entire fleets? They're not talking, Administrator. They're preparing. Every moment you delay, they learn more. Elise leaned forward, anger and fear tangled. We can't wait for them to act first. We've seen what they're capable of. You send emissaries and you'll be sending ashes. Corrin hesitated, the weight of centuries of protocol pressing down on him.
The Council believes... Rian slammed his fist on the console.
Belief won't save us. Do you hear them? They're building gods and you're sitting in a chamber telling us to ask nicely. Deep within the Odyssey's armory, engineers moved with urgent purpose. Rail coil cannons hummed, plasma charges readied, and every crew member understood their place in the looming storm. The air smelled of ozone and oil. Elise approached the tactical display, tracing the positions of the reconstructed relics. Captain, they're mirroring us, she whispered, pointing. Every maneuver, every formation, it's almost like they know our instincts. Rian's eyes narrowed. They're not just machines. They're intelligence. Adaptive intelligence, Navarro interjected, voice taut. Then we need a plan they won't see coming. Rian's mind raced. Humanity had survived through cunning, audacity, and the ability to turn the impossible into strategy. They weren't gods, but they were relentless, and they had a weapon the relics couldn't understand. Unpredictability. Listen, he said, voice low and sharp. We hit them where they're weakest. Their logic is perfect, but ours isn't. That's our edge. We improvise, we adapt, and we don't stop. Outside the largest construct, the primary relic shifted. It rotated slowly, revealing appendages that gleamed like molten metal, weapons forming organically along its surface. Thousands of smaller drones detached from its sides, humming with energy and circling the Odyssey. The crew's tension coiled tighter. Sensors screamed. Every algorithm the ship could muster tried to anticipate the swarm's moves. And yet, with every calculation, the relics were one step ahead. Elise gritted her teeth. They're studying us. Every flicker of our shields, every shot we fire. They're learning our style. Ryan's voice was a low growl. Then we'll give them a new one. Humanity doesn't fight by pattern. We fight by heart, by instinct, by stubborn will. We make mistakes. And those mistakes, they kill gods. Hours stretched into the black eternity of space. The Odyssey skirted between debris and energy fields, testing the relic's responses. Every engagement left scorch marks on the hull, but the crew learned, adapted, and struck back harder. Nora's voice cut through the tense atmosphere. Captain, new transmissions detected from unknown sources. Patterns are inconsistent with relic communication. They may be human. Ryan froze. Human. Elise's eyes widened. They could be survivors, or other explorers. Maybe someone already tried to fight them, or someone already failed, Navarro muttered. His hands hovered over the weapon consoles, ready. Rian exhaled slowly, gaze fixed on the amber glow of the emerging armada. Then we find out, and we make sure humanity doesn't fail. Not now, not ever. Outside, the relics pulsed once more. Their formation shifted, spreading outward like fingers reaching across the void. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Humanity was awake. Humanity was aware, and the machines had begun to forge the war that would decide everything. Ryan whispered to the darkness beyond the viewport, voice carrying a fierce certainty. Then we will meet them. On our terms. The Odyssey drifted into the shadow of the largest reconstructed relic, its hull groaning under the gravitational pull of the massive construct. Outside, the swarm of smaller drones circled in precise, terrifying harmony. The amber glow of the gate reflected across every viewport, bathing the crew in a light that seemed alive. Elise, Rian said, voice low and measured. Run a full analysis of their energy patterns. I want to know how fast they adapt. Elise's fingers danced across the console, eyes scanning the data that scrolled too fast to comprehend. Captain, it's insane. Every time we fire, they analyze the output, reconfigure themselves, and counter. They're predicting our attacks before we even aim. Ryan's jaw tightened. Then we stop being predictable. We improvise, we deviate, we think like humans. Messy, chaotic, dangerous. Navarro stepped forward, his hands shaking but determined. Chaos is exactly what they won't anticipate. But how do we make the first move without getting shredded? Ryan's eyes narrowed. By making the first sacrifice. We hit a small unit, let it seem like an error, then use the distraction to strike where it matters. They'll learn to expect patterns, but humans don't follow patterns. Down in the engineering bay, the hum of reactors and plasma conduits filled the air. Technicians worked frantically, recalibrating weapons, reinforcing shields, and improvising armor patches. Every strike they had endured had left scars, and the hull bore them like battle tattoos. Elise approached an engineer, watching sparks fly from a welding arc. We can't just survive, she said softly. We have to make them respect us. The engineer nodded, grim-faced. Every modification we make, every shot we fire, it's a message. We're telling them humanity isn't weak. Above them, the relics pulsed, their massive forms slowly rotating as if surveying the Odyssey. Ryan's words echoed through the ship. We fight by heart, by instinct, by stubborn will. The first engagement began at the edge of the debris field. A small squadron of drones detached from the primary relic, glinting like shards of obsidian. They moved in perfect formation, scanning and analyzing, ready to strike. Rian leaned forward, fingers brushing the comms. Now, he said. The Odyssey fired a barrage of railcoil lances, striking one drone, then immediately feigning retreat. The drone dissolved in a controlled explosion and the swarm hesitated, calculating, adjusting, uncertain. Elise's eyes widened. It worked. They're hesitating. Good, Rian muttered, voice sharp. Now we hit the center. Navarro, target the primary relic's core. Elise, prepare the secondary rail coil. Timing is everything. The ship surged forward, weaving through energy beams and debris. The swarm followed, adaptive but constrained by the very logic that made them precise. And humans, messy, unpredictable humans, slipped between the cracks of perfection. The Odyssey's first strike at the relic's core sent tremors through space. Energy flared and metal screeched like a living beast in pain. The relic's surface cracked, exposing pulsing conduits of light. For a moment, victory shimmered on the horizon. But then the relic emitted a resonant pulse that washed over the Odyssey. The crew staggered, shields failing in bursts and systems overloaded. Nora's calm voice cut through the chaos. "Captain, they're feeding on our aggression. Every attack strengthens them." Ryan's fist slammed against the console. "Then we escalate. We don't just fight to survive. We fight to teach." Elise's eyes burned with determination. "Teach them what?" Ryan smiled grimly. "That humans never bow. That no machine, no matter how perfect, can break our spirit." Hours passed in relentless skirmishes. Each engagement left the Odyssey battered but alive. Every strike, every calculated risk honed the crew's instincts. They learned the relic's responses, their adaptive patterns, and slowly the edge began to tip. Navarro shouted from the tactical station. "Captain, primary relic core is destabilizing. Repetitive attacks are creating feedback loops in their energy matrix." Ryan's eyes gleamed. "Then we finish it. Prepare for full-scale assault. This is the fire that will forge humanity's stand." Outside the relic's pulse, the swarm hesitated, and for the first time, a sense of vulnerability showed in their otherwise perfect form. Humanity's chaotic brilliance, the reckless, brilliant, unstoppable heart, was forcing hesitation into perfection. Ryan turned to his crew, voice a low roar filled with defiance. "We are not just surviving, we are human, and today they will learn that." The bridge fell silent, every eye fixed on the amber glow of the relics. For a heartbeat, the universe seemed to pause. Then the Odyssey surged forward once more, a human spear into the heart of the godlike constructs. And somewhere deep in the void, the primary relic pulsed, almost acknowledging the challenge. The Odyssey trembled as it surged through the remnants of the debris field, the amber glow of the primary relic casting long shadows across the hull. Outside, the reconstructed fleet moved with deliberate grace, machines of terrifying intelligence. Yet for the first time, there was hesitation in their movements. Rian Holt stood at the observation deck, jaw tight, eyes scanning the energy fluctuations. Every pulse, every shimmer of the relic's light told a story: adaptation, calculation, awareness. But humans had something the machines could not anticipate: ingenuity born of chaos. "Elise, status on shields?" Ryan asked. "Stable." "Barely," she replied. Sparks flared along the console as systems strained under the feedback from the relics. "They're reacting faster than ever. If we push any harder, we risk a total overload." Ryan exhaled, voice steady but sharp. "Then we push smarter." "Navarro, reconfigure the rail coil trajectory. Aim for their junction points, not the outer armor. Target the connections that bind them." Navarro nodded, sweat streaking his face. "Understood. But the feedback, it's unpredictable. We could fry the entire deck if we miscalculate." Ryan smiled grimly. "Then we miscalculate like humans do. Boldly and with purpose." In engineering, the crew moved with fevered precision. Plasma conduits hissed, engines roared, and every modification to the Odyssey's systems was made in real time. Improvised armor plates lined the walls, energy dampeners hummed, and every officer understood that survival depended not just on skill, but on instinct. "Elise," Ryan called, entering the bay, "we need the human factor amplified. I want simulations thrown out." "We fight on gut and experience," she nodded, eyes fierce. "Chaos over protocol." "I can do that." The crew braced as the first of the relic's retaliatory strikes tore through the debris around them. The hull shuddered violently and alarm screamed. But the Odyssey held, its human crew dancing along the razor's edge of annihilation. The first strike against the primary relic's core had worked, but only partially. The machines were learning. They were adjusting faster than before, repairing their conduits and strengthening their defensive fields. "Captain," Navarro said, voice tight, "they're starting to counter our unpredictability. They're thinking in ways we can't see yet." Ryan's jaw clenched. "Then we escalate. Not just attacks, but strategy. Humans survive because we adapt mid-fight, because we don't follow logic blindly. The moment we accept their rules, we lose." Elise leaned over the tactical display, eyes narrowing. "We've been reactive. What if we become the force that shapes their learning? What if we force them to adapt to us?" Ryan's lips curved. "Exactly. We make them bend to human chaos. Every strike, every feint, every retreat, it's a lesson. And humans teach in fire. The battle escalated into a ballet of violence and strategy. The Odyssey darted through swarming drones. Rails lances slicing paths through the void. Each pulse of human fire tore into the relics' formations, exploiting the slightest weakness. Nora's voice cut through the chaos. Captain, energy feedback from the primary core indicates instability. Repetitive human-induced fluctuations are creating resonance within their central network. Ryan's eyes lit. Then we hit again, with everything. We exploit the resonance, let the fire forge our will into the heart of their network. Elise's hands moved with fevered precision, engaging full rail coil sequence. Timing, now. The Odyssey unleashed a synchronized barrage, lances of pure energy slicing through the swarm, striking junctions, tearing conduits. The core of the primary relic pulsed violently, sparks of molten energy flaring outward. For a moment, silence reigned, the kind that follows chaos before it resumes. Then the relics moved, not as individuals, but as a network. The central construct twisted, its surface shimmering, adaptive shields converging in patterns too fast to follow. The swarm moved as one, retaliating with precision. The Odyssey shook violently, hull plating scorched, weapon systems screaming from overload. Elise, shields down to 40%, Navarro shouted. Rian's voice was calm but absolute. Then we go to plan 2. We survive long enough for them to learn human unpredictability, and that will break them. Elise's eyes burned with determination. We're betting everything on chaos. Ryan's gaze swept the amber-lit void. Yes, chaos is the only weapon they can't master. And humans are the masters of chaos. Outside, the primary relic convulsed, energy lances erupting from its surface, but the human crew moved like a storm through the storm. Every calculation, every instinctive maneuver began to tip the scales. For the first time, the Odyssey wasn't just surviving, it was teaching. Humanity's defiance, unpredictability, and relentless will carved cracks in perfection. And somewhere deep within the relic's network, a pulse of awareness sparked. Almost like fear, Rian whispered, almost to himself. Voice carrying across the trembling bridge. We are humanity, and no machine, no matter how perfect, will break us. The void trembled under the pulse of war. The Odyssey maneuvered through a labyrinth of shattered moons, drifting relics and glowing debris, every movement deliberate, every calculation imperfect, but that imperfection was exactly what gave humanity its edge. Captain Rian Holt stood at the observation deck, eyes locked on the primary relic. Its surface shimmered with molten amber energy, now jagged and uneven, like the first cracks in stone under immense pressure. Elise, he said, voice low and deliberate. They're learning, but they're also scared. Elise looked up from the tactical display, brows furrowed. Scared? Machines? Ryan's lips curved. Not scared as we feel it, confused. Imperfect human chaos is contagious. They can't compute it. And once they can't compute it, they start making mistakes. Navarro's fingers flew across the console. We've been pushing them for hours. Shields are stabilizing, but energy outputs are spiking. If we push again, the Odyssey could rip itself apart. Ryan's eyes hardened. Then we don't push, we strike. Every move counts now. The stakes aren't survival, they're dominance. Outside, the swarm twisted like living fire, adjusting its formation faster than ever. Yet there was hesitation, tiny gaps, brief pauses between strikes. The Odyssey slipped through those spaces, darting like a predator, firing calculated volleys at junction points, forcing feedback pulses into the core of the primary relic. Nora's voice was calm but alert. Captain, energy feedback indicates central destabilization. The core is responding to human-induced chaos. Probability of full structural collapse, 52%. Ryan's lips pressed into a thin line. Then we don't wait for odds. We make them fall. Elise nodded, setting the secondary rail coil sequence. Full synchronization ready, timing. Coordinated with evasive maneuvers. The crew held their breath as the Odyssey surged forward, weaving between debris and drones, a spear of human defiance cutting straight into the heart of the godlike construct. The first strike tore through the primary core. Energy flares erupted, casting dancing shadows across the bridge. The relic's surface fractured, glowing conduits exposed, sparks cascading into the void like molten rain. The swarm paused as if shocked, their hive mind faltering for the first time. "Now," Rian roared. The Odyssey released everything it had, rails, plasma, and energy pulses, each strike a lesson in unpredictability. The relics wavered, their once perfect formation stuttering under the assault. But perfection is stubborn. The core pulsed violently, sending a shockwave that rocked the Odyssey, tearing systems offline for a heartbeat. Alarms screamed, lights flickered, and the hull groaned like it might split. "Elise, shields at 20%, Navarro shouted. Rian's eyes burned with fierce certainty. Then we go further. No hesitation. We hit them where they cannot anticipate. Humanity is relentless and they'll learn it, even if it kills us. The battle escalated beyond raw power. It became a contest of wills. Each volley from the Odyssey forced the relics to adapt, but every adaptation created new vulnerabilities. Every movement of humans, messy and chaotic, became a tool. "Elise," Rian said, voice cutting through the alarms. "This is it. The moment we either forge victory or are forged into legend." Elise's hands flew over the controls, voice steady, filled with resolve. "I've never seen anything like this. But we can do it. We will do it." The Odyssey dove through the heart of the relic swarm, weaving chaos into precision, turning unpredictability into a weapon. Each strike tore the swarm apart, dismantling drones, destabilizing the core. And then, at the very center, the primary relic convulsed violently. Energy beams erupted in every direction, massive tendrils of molten light tearing through space. For a heartbeat, the void was a storm of fire, metal, and pure willpower. The Odyssey held its course. Humans on the bridge gritted their teeth against the tremors. Their eyes were unyielding, hearts locked to the rhythm of battle. Every strike, every decision, every reckless instinct was a defiance carved in steel. Finally, the primary relic's core fractured, molten conduits collapsing inward. The hive pulse faltered, sending cascading feedback throughout the swarm. Smaller drones flickered, then fell silent, drifting like ashes in zero gravity. The void was still, but charged, alive with the memory of chaos. Rian exhaled, voice low but filled with triumph. "They'll rebuild, but they've learned. And we've taught them a lesson no machine can ignore." Elise rested a hand on his shoulder, eyes wide with exhausted awe. Humanity survived, and not just survived, we fought as if the universe itself had to recognize us. Navarro leaned back, wiping sweat from his brow. "We're alive. We actually did it. We survived the impossible." Rian looked out into the amber-lit void where the relics lay fractured, scattered, and still sparking. "They called for diplomacy too late," he murmured. "Humanity built its war machines, and they weren't ready." The Odyssey floated silently, battered but unbroken. Outside, the remnants of the constructs glimmered in the void, a testament to the clash of mind and instinct, chaos and perfection. And somewhere deep within the shattered relics, an awareness pulsed faintly, a warning that the universe had learned something terrifying. Humans were not to be underestimated. Rian's voice was almost a whisper, yet it echoed with certainty across the bridge. "The war isn't over, but now we set the terms." The void was silent yet charged, as if space itself held its breath. The Odyssey drifted among the shattered remnants of the relics, every hull panel scorched, every system groaning from overuse. But the crew moved with quiet determination, their eyes reflecting both exhaustion and triumph. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived. Captain Rian Holt stood at the observation deck, gaze fixed on the fractured amber glow of the primary relic. Sparks of molten energy floated lazily in the void, the debris forming jagged silhouettes like the bones of some ancient god. "Elise," he said, voice low but resolute, "we've won the battle, but the war is only beginning." Elise approached, her face pale but fierce. "They're broken but not dead. If they rebuild, we'll face them again." Rian nodded. "Then we don't wait for them to act. Humanity doesn't wait. We take the fight to the edge of the stars and show them who we are. We don't just survive, we dominate." Navarro, leaning against the console, added quietly, "And we'll keep learning. Every encounter makes us stronger. Every loss, sharper." Outside, the scattered drones twitched as if sensing the Odyssey. Some attempted to reorganize, but the hive mind was fractured, chaotic, and hesitant. Humanity had become the unpredictable force no machine could fully calculate. A faint signal flickered on the comms, hesitant, distorted, like the first whispers of recognition. Nora's voice broke through. "Captain, unknown transmission. Pattern is human-like." Ryan's eyes narrowed. Another survivor or remnants of the Council's fleets? Elise adjusted the sensors. Could be an ally. Could be a trap. Either way, we answer. Humanity doesn't cower in the dark, Ryan smiled grimly. Exactly. We approach, but we set the terms. No begging, no hesitancy. We are humanity, and the universe will remember it. In the aftermath, the crew worked tirelessly, repairing, reinforcing, and learning from the relics technology. Every strike, every feedback loop, every failure had taught them something invaluable. Humans thrived where machines sought perfection. Instinct, emotion, unpredictability, they were weapons of their own making. Elise glanced at the tactical display, tracing the flickering energy readings of the primary relic's core. "It's like they're waiting," she murmured, "learning from us even now." Ryan's gaze didn't leave the void. Good, let them learn. Let them remember the defiance of humans. Every system, every star, every civilization, they will know. We are not to be underestimated. And when they rise again, they will rise to us. Navarro exhaled, voice quiet but filled with awe. We've seen the impossible, and we didn't break. Rian's hands clenched on the railing, the weight of centuries of human defiance echoing in his mind. No, we didn't, and we never will. Humanity is relentless. We adapt, we fight, we endure, and we rise. The Odyssey slipped through the void. Battered but unbroken, the crew silent for a moment in shared understanding. Humanity had faced perfection and shattered it with will, courage, and the chaos of life itself. Outside, the amber glow of the relics dimmed slightly, as if acknowledging defeat, or perhaps respect. Somewhere in the vastness, new signals pulsed, hesitant, unreadable, but alive. Humanity had become a force, a spark of unpredictability the cosmos could not ignore. Rian spoke softly, voice carrying across the observation deck. Let the universe take note. Let every star know we are humanity, and we do not bow. We do not wait, we rise, always. Elise smiled, exhausted but proud. Then we keep building, stronger, smarter, ready for whatever comes next. Ryan's eyes gleamed with determination. Because the Council called for diplomacy too late, and humanity built its war machines. The stars stretched infinitely ahead, vast and unyielding, but the Odyssey sailed onward, a testament to human courage, ingenuity, and defiance. The universe would remember this day, the day humans proved they were not merely survivors, but titans in their own right. And somewhere, deep in the shadows of space, the relics began to stir again, but this time humanity was ready.